Chapter 25, Stars. Night falls and I lie on the bumpy ground with the twinkling stars in the distance. The temperature has plummeted and I wrap my sleeping bag around me. There's a half moon. I squint and its craters merge into the shape of a hair. "Which one is the North Star?" asks Sam. "I thought you knew," I reply, staring up at the millions of stars blending in and out of the Milky Way. "So did I," says Sam, "but now I'm not so sure." "Is it that bright one over there?" I ask. "No, it can't be. There are too many stars around it." Squeezing my eyes shut, I try to recall the story Mum told me. 7 sisters were having a race. 2 were tied in first place and 2 tied in second place. The 5th was close behind. I stretch my jumper sleeve over my freezing fingers. The 6th sister had to stop at the bathroom and was furthest away. The 7th sister stayed at home, and even now she never moves in the sky. That's the North Star. I picture Mum's hand closed around a pen, tracing the constellation. I open my eyes. There it is. I spot it immediately. It seems obvious now. The stars are close. I could almost reach out and touch them. I roll over to face Sam. His eyes are fixed on the sky. "How did people navigate when it was cloudy?" asked Sam. "Wait for a clear night, I suppose." A wolf howls. I curl up close to Eve. I focus on my beating heart. I know Mum and Dad are still alive. My heart would feel different if they weren't. Sam shakes my arm and I wake, stiff and achy. "Tash, look," he says. "We're right by it." I force my eyes open. It's dawn and the sky has an early morning glow. The yaks lie next to me, misty breath streaming out of their nostrils. I must have slept for a few hours. I turn my head to the side. On the slope is a tree, dead, black and scorched. It's split in 2 by a lightning strike. 2 ravens perch on the top of it, cleaning each other's feathers. Seeing it gives me a burst of energy. "Let's go!" I jump up and dust my clothes off. I grab the water bottles and fill them in the river. Sam leads the yaks to graze on the small patches of grass next to the riverbed, and we fasten our supplies to them. I scramble up the steep hill until my lungs feel like they're about to burst, and I'm forced to zigzag back and forth, getting slowly higher. The yaks plod forward. I don't take my eyes off the ground. One slip and I would crash down from the edge of the precipice. "Do you think about the man on fire?" I ask Sam quietly. "All the time," he replies. I wait to see if he says anything else. I have so many questions. "What if someone else tries to set themselves on fire?" "There's nothing we can do," says Sam. "We just have to pray for their safety, like your parents said." I turn and watch him closely. "How do you know that?" I ask. "You weren't with me when Mum said that." "It must have been your dad," Sam answers quickly, "while you were making tea." I narrow my eyes at him and he looks away. Chapter 26, Migration. We climb higher and higher until I can no longer hear the river. I've always loved being outside. Even in school, I'd spent hours staring out of the window, feeling like a prisoner and longing to be on the other side of the glass. I look up. Mountain peaks, giant and rocky and snow-covered, stretch across the horizon in front of us. Our white-tipped barrier. I open the map, holding it in front of me to compare it. Within the mountain range, I see 2 small peaks, followed by a big one. We're going the right way, I say, relief flooding over me. From here on, we follow the sunset. My stomach groans and I rummage in the bag for a piece of jerky. I tear off a bite, getting the strings stuck in my teeth. I'm not so sure about this, murmurs Sam, staring up at the peaks. It's too dangerous alone. We need help. Remember how you always said that we could do anything? I wave the secret eagle signal at him. He signs it back. We were made for the mountains, I say. Besides, we're not alone. We have the yaks. Bones grunts and Sam smiles. Eve stumbles on a loose rock and her body lurches forward. She snorts, picking her leg up and returning to her lumbering stride. You can do it too, I whisper. We're surrounded by a rocky desert. Everything is still, except for the shadows of clouds moving across the ground. Eve bends her head and munches on a shrub growing out of a crack. The branches stick out the side of her jaw. Look, says Sam. The yaks need a break and I want to look at that letter again. Fine, I give in. I'm higher than I've ever been before, and for the first time I can feel the lack of oxygen. I unfold the letter. There are quarter moons, says Sam. There are 4 quarters in a whole, so let's try every 4th word. We count. How, if, more, passing will mountains on and last is see or earliest, says Sam as he reads. That definitely doesn't make sense. What about every 4th letter, he asks. It makes even more of a jumble. I sigh. We'll keep thinking. Sam leads Bones to the bush. He rummages in the packs and pulls out the jerky. He rips a piece off and hands the rest to me. I was hungrier than I realised, I say, tearing the salty meat with my teeth. We're on rations, says Sam. We're always going to be hungry. I laugh, the icy air filling my lungs. There's a sudden noise. I lift my head and scan for somewhere to hide. There's nowhere that will disguise 2 yaks. Sam taps my arm and points. 2 objects are in the sky, side by side and heading towards us. For a second, I think it's some kind of military aeroplane, but then I hear the beating of air and the great flap of wings. Cranes, said Sam. I duck. They skim over our heads and head straight for the mountains. They stop flapping when they reach the Himalayas and soar. The wind catches the underside of their feathers. I hold my breath as they float upwards, gliding on the current. I wish we could do that, Sam grins. I nod. I'd give anything to be able to fly right now. More birds appear, filling the sky with their waving wings. The first pair is right at the top of the mountains. They cross over and disappear down the other side. Then it hits me. If the birds are migrating, it means their lakes have already frozen. Winter has arrived. The way will soon be blocked by snow. We're running out of time.